It's in the spotlight. Better get ready, better get ready. We don't back down, this is what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait and see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. Raise up a white flag. Didn't come this far just to turn back. The curtains fall for the last act. Breaking that levee, breaking that levee. We don't back down, this is what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait and see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. We don't back down, this is what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait and see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary.
I got metal running through my bones, a resurrection like a ghost. Hurricane, go ahead and blow. Where you could keep your white flag, I'll never fold. A shadow on the battlefield, a survivor, never yield. A thunder, go ahead and shade. Don't run from the storm when I feel the rain. There's no rest for the wicked, no victory for the weak. And when the weeds getting thicker, you'll never see me on my knees. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. I got a fever in my blood, a falling embers from above. I feel the heat when the pressure blows, a wildfire that you can't control. There's no rest for the wicked, no victory for the weak. And when the weeds getting thicker, you'll never see me on my knees. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive.
We're a racing family that you can trust on and off the track. So if you're looking for foundation repair, go online or give us a call to schedule your free inspection. If we fix your foundation and you mention Race on Texas, you will get a 1-year free subscription to the All Access Pass.
Our family started RVing a few years ago, and when I think about all those campfires and fishing trips and sporting events, these are memories that are going to last a lifetime. I want to help others do the same thing. Hi, I'm Kevin Smith, General Manager at the all-new Click It RV in Milton Freewater. People in this community are very familiar with this location and the great service they've always received. So the biggest question we get is, where is Keith? The great news is, Keith is still here.
I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of things come and go. Through all the changes that we have seen, one thing that has not changed for us is the quality of our service.
Buying an RV is a big purchase, but it should be a fun and happy experience. So whether it be in sales or service or parts, our mission is simple: be the best. From our team here at Click It RV in Milton Freewater, we invite you to come down and experience the difference.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome race fans for a FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series race here at the virtual Daytona International Speedway here for the opening season of the 2024A session here. And, well, you might recognize my voice if you have tuned in to a previous FTSR broadcast for the past year or so. From the Nerditude side, I am Jeremy Stanley, subbing in for Jason Rockefeller, and over as my partner in crime here tonight, Mr. Charles Wooten. How's it going, man?
It is definitely going good. My first time. You've been here before. So kind of reversed roles. I'm used to being the veteran, but you're the veteran. I'm the rookie. Looking forward to some great racing. And my one goal, and I mentioned this to you earlier, that is not to butcher names too badly.
I got you covered there, man. If you make a mistake, I will gladly fix it because I've been calling these guys. I think it was 2 years running that we did call them. So it's been a few months. I still remember all the names, though. So I'll definitely be their assistants here tonight. We got about 10 seconds or so left in this practice session before we do kick it over to qualifying and do a quick check on the weather here. It is nighttime, so it's not going to be too hot here in the mid-February. 78 degrees on the track, 77 in the skies. It's overcast, but it's a sim. It's a sim, right? So you're not going to be affected by cloudiness during the nighttime. So let's just disregard that. But that wind speed, though, Charles, 16 miles an hour at its peak. That might affect these guys if they're 2 or 3 wide here in the corners tonight.
Yeah, and I know we don't have it listed there, but I can see it on the back end. That is coming out of the southeast to east. So it is, it definitely could play some factor depending on where it's hitting on this track. And, well, they might want to be prepared for it.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially late in the going, if you try to run that 3 wide situation, that wind gust, you'll see these guys down the back straightaway and even on the front stretch. You're going to see them not hold a straight line. You're going to be thinking, man, these guys are all over the place, and that's not in their control. That wind gust hits the side of the truck there, and that's just a big wind block, right? So it's going to move these trucks around. They got to be cautious. But these guys at FTSR, from what I remember, give a lot of room, especially the first half of the race. They don't like to push the issue early on, so I don't see that being an issue for these guys here this evening. And we're going to start qualifying off following the number 54, Rick Webb, there in that Ford Mustang. Well, Ford F-150. I've been painting so many Mustangs recently, I get that mixed up. But we're going to see what Rick Webb does as far as his qualifying time. Some people like to run the top for the warm-up lap and go to the bottom. Some run the middle. Some come off the corner. Some glue to the yellow line. And so it's kind of cool to see what people do in their qualifying lines there, Charles. And I'm still learning. I'm not the fastest at this style of racing for qualifying, so I'm going to see what he can't do here tonight.
Yeah, I almost take pointers from these guys, and I learn from them because, unfortunately, you know the job of producing and, announcing. I haven't touched a wheel since 2017, so it has been a few updates since I've been behind the wheel myself, so I always look to see, how these guys are going to run it, how they change. And so far, look, and he's on his, looks like he is on his first lap. We'll see. He's under the gun, but times are already coming in. Brian Bliss, or Biggie, as I've known him here shortly, in that 3 machine, is at the top of the boards with a 51.849. Obviously, as well as I do, those times are going to get a little bit faster in the group with the draft.
Yeah, we see Rick Webb running the bottom half of the track. Like I said, I'm still learning, right? But typically speaking, running the inside on your first lap is not the fastest. And Rick Webb, of course, he posted P3 on his first lap because he ran the short way around. But that lap 2, though, as he really widens out that corner exit, I'm not sure if that's going to get a top 5 position at the end of lap 2. He brings it back down almost all the way to the yellow line for the entrance of turn 3. We got about 20 to 21 times posted right now. Kyle Milliken sits P1 on his first lap. Rick Webb coming through turns 3 and 4 here. Going to go through the first part of the tri-oval. And I would imagine to see his time maybe stick right around 10th on back with this inside lane at the line. 54 Rick Webb does post a slower lap time. 51.917. First lap is the fastest. That's kind of surprising.
Yeah, I did notice when he was coming out of 3, I believe it was, there was a bobble. He hit that apron and the car kind of bobbled a little bit, so I think that hurt him just a tiny little bit. That's the thing about these super speedways. The slightest little bobble can really hurt you. But, while we're talking about qualifying and we're watching Cody McKinney here, your thoughts. Qualify, don't qualify? Do you want to start in the rear? Do you want to start up front so you can be away from the drama? We just had this past weekend 3 Daytona races, and majority of the races happen at the front. They can happen at the back. So, I think it's a toss-up. I want to be up front, but it's a 50-50 shot, really.
Yeah. So that's a great question, and every team always asks themselves that when they strap up for a super speedway race. They're like, do we run to the back, play the Dale Jarrett route, wait to the end, then show up, or do we go up to the front and really show what we have in store for the race? And I typically have been mid to back of the pack up until the past year or so. When I've joined a super speedway league, I've learned a lot of things, and myself, I have way more success up front. I try to be in the top 10 at minimum. There's just less traffic, and there's less chance of a wreck, right? If you're back in 20th, you have 19 guys to worry about if they're going to wreck. As to if you're in 5th, you only got to worry about 5 or 6 that might take you out. And so I find success in that, especially at FTSR, where these guys run super clean races consistently every single week. There's not many wrecks. So to put yourself up in the front, give yourself the best chance possible. I think that's going to be the key to the victory here this evening. And Charles, these guys are starting to load up on the grid here. So we're going to do a rundown of tonight's starting lineup for the opening race at the Sim Racing Points Truck Series event here. P1 is going to be Nick Goebel there, starting alongside him on the outside. P2 is Tom Price. 3rd place, number 9, Marshall Johnson. 4th place, the 42, Kyle Milliken. 5th place, you'll find Joseph McKinney in the 18 alongside James Mullins in the 60. Fourth row back, Tommy Schaefer in the 29. Rick Webb actually holds inside the top 10 with that 917. He starts in 9th place, TJ Bartell in the 98. In 10th place, Ferry Motorsports driver number 11, Tony Solari. 11th, 27, Ryan Chapman. Outside of him, Robert Maliki in there in the 16. 13th, Cody McKinney in the 28. Number 2 of Alan Duranko will start in 14th. 15th, you'll find the number 91 of Justin Diltz. And 16th to his outside, number 23, Brody Hanna. 17th place, Wayne Grossi. 18th place, Sherwood Williford. 19th place, Brian Bliss. 20th, Anthony Causey. 21st, Michael Blackner in the 22. 22nd place, Bill Hull in the 51. Richie Coy, I usually expect him in the top 10. He's going to be starting back all the way in 23rd. To the outside is number 8 of Colby Mice. 25th, Douglas Hess. And to his outside in 26th is Lewis Meglin. And then the last 2 entries did not qualify. And it's going to put 27th and 28th. It'll be Josh Mayu and Vince Mims.
And that'll do it. And, again, I will do my best as we go through this season. I'll make sure we get all their names. But fantastic job with the grid. You know them a little bit better, so it was easier for you, obviously. But I'm looking to see how Brody does. I've been hanging out with these guys, trying to get to know them. I have my guys like Tom Price that I've been. Tony, we've been hanging out with him. Anthony. Richie, all these guys we've been hanging out with quite a bit, trying to get to know them, trying to get to know the league. I'm not going to say I have favorites, but, hey, I've been chatting with them, hanging out with them, so I might be cheering them on a little bit, but it's Daytona. Anyone has a good shot at winning here, so I'm looking forward to good racing. Only 80 laps, so, what do you say, about 20 to go time for these guys?
I'm going to say that final pit stop, if it ends up being your green flag pit stop, whatever that is, that's what you want to set up for, is have a solid pit stop on that last green flag stop. There's not going to be many cautions, at least from what I have known in the past. You're probably going to see, I think there's a stage break still. Outside of that, you're probably going to see maybe 1 to 2 cautions that are produced by a wreck. And so I'm going to say find your partners early. And with Fury Motorsports, what I remember, that's going to be the 19, the 23, and the 11, maybe even Michael Blackner. They're going to pit early. They love to pit a couple laps before everybody else. They get themselves in line, and they make things happen. Now, with the draft package and the trucks this year, they've kind of nuked it a little bit. So it's not as effective running 4 trucks versus 10. So that's going to be a new thing for me to kind of take note of and see how they can perform with their strategies typically. But we're going to see the pace car dip down here. We got 80 laps coming at you this evening, once again from the virtual Daytona National Raceway on the iRacing platform, and the green flag is out. Nick Goebel takes him to the line with a clean jump over second and third.
Yeah, you got Goebel and Johnson your front two, and some notable information here. We did not have time to get this into the actual overlays, but they have 3 attempts at a green-white checkered, so quite a few if they need them. 100% fuel, 4 sets of tires for the truck, 5 on the Cup, but no fast repairs. That's going to be a big key here with no fast repairs. If you get caught up in something, your night very well could be done very quickly. So mind your P's and Q's and play along here for a little bit for the beginning of this race, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. And actually looking at the website here, is we're going to complete lap number 1 with Nick Goebel not going to be leading this thing. The number 5, Tom Price, going to lead lap number 2, or at least lap number 1 at the end of it anyway. So, stage break at 15, 30, and 80. So it's a difference from last season where they ran only 1 stage break. So these are going to be short runs. So you're not going to see any green flag stops on this first stint, the second stint. But the third one there is going to be about 45 laps when they go back to green flag. There will be a green flag stop somewhere in there. Tires, you can throw those out the window unless you're in a wreck and you need to change them. So that's going to be fair. But Charles, the fast repairs, You're probably going to need at least one if you're hoping to have one anyways at a super speedway. But like I said, these guys typically stay clean. So I don't expect too many guys wishing they had one this evening.
Definitely. It's always good to have a clean race. And, and like you said, no fast repairs. On an 80-lap race, you definitely want a clean race. You want to race them out. And do we know, since you've covered them before, as we just barrel in to another corner with Goebel out front, if the caution comes out, a lap or two before, will they race, or they just call that the stage break at that point, whoever's leading?
Pending the rule book has stayed the same, stage break will be called if it's within 5 laps of the scheduled stage break. So if there's a caution that comes out on lap 21 through 25, that'll be it for these guys. So in this case, stage 1 ends on lap 15, so anything happens after lap 10 or 11, I do believe that will be the deciding factor on that stage.
Well, that is always good information to have. And I'll have to check out the website. I've been on it a little bit, just poking around. But like I said, I spend more time getting to know the drivers. And a lot of these guys that I've got to know a little bit, they are big-time gamers. They're all about, having a good time. I haven't met one driver in this league so far that, you cracked a joke and they were like, that's not funny. They all have a good time. So I expect them to do the same thing here. Have a good time, but, be serious at the same time. As Goebel's still out front. You got Johnson still, Price. McKinney's up there. Schaefer, Mullins. They're just kind of pacing right now. And this is what I call the Sunday drive mode. Jeremy, and I think they're going to be in it for a while. Just kind of cruising around. Don't worry about too much. You don't have to be in the lead right now. We're on lap 5 of 80.
Yeah, and the only thing different is the second stage break being at 15 and 30. So I'm used to seeing just that one where it's about a third of the way through the race. So typically in that situation, it would be around lap 30 would be the break for the first and only one. That produces more clean Sunday drive racing, like you just said, because you don't have to fight for stage points. But now, since it's a lot more closely grouped up, 15, on lap 15 and lap 30, maybe those guys in like 10th or 11th place maybe want to take it 3 wide. Maybe they want to go, hey, I want the most stage points I can, so they got to do it quickly. They have 10 laps to get to where they need to earn points. So that'll be a little change up for me personally. But as you see right now, and I mentioned it in practice, these guys, or in qualifying rather, these guys give a lot of space, and you're seeing it. The top lane is on the top, the bottom is on the bottom. You can fit a whole truck right now in that middle groove for the most part throughout this entire field. And this is why FTSR always has clean racing, is they know to respect one another, especially early on in an event.
Yeah, they call it the sucker hole, but right now we got no suckers because nobody's in it, like you mentioned.
That's right.
Yeah, they're just doing it. And, while we're watching this racing, I typically would not, step away from the racing, but I got to mention, and I'm sure you got to do it. Well, actually, I don't, but you might. It is Valentine's Day. I don't see any pink cars out there, so nobody celebrating with their car, but we're here working. But, anyone you need to give a shout out to for Valentine's Day, I know I'll give one to my mother. So happy Valentine's Day. I know she got me some chocolates today just because she knows I like chocolate. So a big shout out to her. But anyone you want to give one to, since we're having to work on Valentine's Day here?
I mean, my wife and I do not celebrate. I'm one of those, I don't know if it's cliche or not, but it's why should you love each other for one day versus 364 days type of thing. So like we just go about our own normal day. But it's always nice to see people kind of celebrate. It's just another reason for people to get together, so I'm all for it regardless. So the family, of course, as well for me. I know my son at his daycare had a lot of stuff given to him, and we passed out some stuff, so that's always fun to see that. So I would say probably just family, the normal routine things to thank for on this holiday day.
I definitely agree with the sentiment. Why confine it to one day? I just wish we would do that for Christmas too. But Anyway, back to the racing. Still Goebel out front. Price, you're not seeing a whole lot of changing in this group. However, there is, I believe, one driver that's further back, and that is Douglas Hess. He is way off the pace. He came down pit road for about 12 seconds, but never actually went into his stall, according to live timing and scoring. But he is far back, and he is going to get gobbled up. And this is the opportunity, not a good opportunity. You could potentially see, something here. It all depends on where Hess goes and allows these guys to go by on the high side, the low side, where they catch him. So a potential for a caution coming here soon.
Yeah, as the leaders are actually coming to him right now off the exit of turn number 4. As they go 3 wide for the first time this evening on lap number 8, coming to lap 9. Douglas Hess did not start the race with the grid. He started from pit road, so that is why he has no draft help. And he's found himself now 1 lap down on lap number 9. But thankfully, he's got that stage break, which should produce a caution here in 7 laps. And that'll put him back on lead lap, pending nobody else gets wrecked or goes down a lap. So looks like he follows in line in front of the 23 Brody Hanna here. We're starting to see a lot of side-by-side motion going down this back straightaway, at least from what I'm seeing. There's just a lot of movement there, and that's because of that wind being so strong.
Yeah, that wind is still 12 miles per hour out of the east to southeast. So it is definitely playing a factor, and these guys are feeling it. They know it's out there blowing their trucks around, and they're fighting it. So they definitely have to just keep minding their P's and Q's, stay out there and stay clean, and they're doing that. Like I said, you mentioned they're a really clean league. I'm looking forward to that. Is now Price is out front leading this thing at the moment, and let's just look back. We look behind his truck here, and they are all in the in the tailgate there. I believe that is Marshall Johnson behind him, but just all in his rear deck lid.
Yeah, you're riding on board the number 9 Marshall Johnson, looking back at the 42. That's Kyle Milliken's second truck on the outside row here, coming off the turn 4 once more. Going to get 4 laps to go before the first stage is over. And I'm looking through this field, and not many movers there, Charles. It's where you started is where you've been. I see maybe the highest truck, or the most positions earned right now is 5, and that's from Colby Mice in the 8. Started 24th, now in 19th. But for the most part, it's just only 2 or 3 spots. So they've just been very patient running in line. And of course, you haven't seen any passing really. So completely expected from me from this first part. These guys know how to mix it up though, so don't expect this to be happening around lap 60 or 70. It becomes way more exciting toward the end, but they're just riding along right now as they're about to get 3 laps to go before the stage is over.
And we're sitting here watching this about where most of the positions have been gained are right back here towards the 20th spot and down. They're 3, 4, 5, and the rest are just 1, but it's worth mentioning because I thought it was quite ironic. My 2 favorite things, Red Bull, which I pretty much live on, and I pretty much have it DoorDashed all the time. So you got DoorDash chasing the Red Bull truck. So, that is Colby Mice in the 8 machine chasing the 22. That is Michael Blackner that he's chasing down. So, again, just a quick shout out to those guys as they're running my favorite paint schemes. But up front, again, not a whole lot changing, but they're still battling for the lead side by side.
Yeah, 100% there. 2 laps to go. Pit road is closed. When it get the 2 to go per stage, they're going to close down pit road, so you cannot shortcut the pits by a drastic amount. So these guys are going to be forced to stay on the track up until the caution flag does wave in a lap and a half. The inside lane actually gets a pretty decent run. They're really closed up there, the 1 and the 9, bumper to bumper through turn 2 all the way down to the back straightaway. And it is showing, it is keeping Nick Goebel in the 1 up front by a whole truck length over that number 5, Tom Price, who led the first lap of the 2024 season. They're going to come through turns 3 and 4 here. The 5 is not going to get as much side draft as he needs to get the P1. we're going to see the white flag for this stage this time. If Tom Price can get just a little bit lower on that door panel, they're off turn 3 and 4, he's going to have the preferred lane here.
And, you know, the one thing I look forward to, and I think these drivers are looking forward to, is you're getting to make these pit stops, you know, and you don't have to worry about it. Because when we see those green flag pit stops later on in the night, assuming we do see one, which we should, you know, you got to work your way down to the bottom. You don't really have to worry about that right now because, you know, you've been on track, I've been on track. It is not always the easiest to get down to that bottom lane to make a pit stop, you know, especially when you're 2 and 3 wide. So having it at a stage is definitely a plus, as they're going to go 3 wide here for the
3 wide contact, and the 9 makes, yeah, it does make a little contact with the 5, does not cause any wrecks though. Stage brake is out. These guys are going to check up. The 42 tried to make a move on the top, which negated any chance of Tom getting to P1 there at the line. So it's going to put Nick Goebel first place, Marshall Johnson second, and Tom Price is going to round out the top 3 for this stage break. So first stage of the 2024 A season belongs to Nick Goebel in the 1 truck here. Charles, since they're under caution here, very unexciting pit sequence is about to happen for caution break. So I think it's a great time to shout out our partners for the first time this evening. We'll be right back.
Hi, welcome to Day Motorsports. Come on, check out what we got.
Thank you for keeping Day Motorsports in business for over 50 years.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back here. Looks like we have a lap and a half of pacing to go before we're going to start stage 2, which is going to be the shortest stage. I know it's 15, 30, 80, but when that caution comes out on lap 15, it doesn't actually go back to green flag until lap 19. So a really short 12-lap stint will be the deciding factor to get more stage points for stage 2. You see the stats right now so far. Total cautions 1, that's because of stage. Caution laps 2, and there's going to be 1 more before we go green. And then 6 lead changes in 15 laps, which that is just mainly Tom Price and Nick Goebel. Speaking of which, he won that stage. Look where he's restarting, 15th place. So that's going to be a huge downfall to open this race up for him. Now we can see if he has the setup to get back up to the front. We know he can lead to the inside line very well, but put him back into traffic now, and that setup is going to perform a lot differently. Hopefully it's going to prefer for him, but we won't know until we go back to green flag in about a half lap there, Charles.
Yeah, it's always interesting when you see someone like Nick Goebel first out of the pits, but 15th on the track. 14th now there, 14th, 15th as they're going back and forth, because the top 15 or 14 guys did not come down. So you really have two separate strategies going on. We know tires, not really a big deal. So fuel's the deal. You have half on older tires and lower fuel. Again, the other half, potentially, actually, most of them I wouldn't even say have fresh tires because they don't matter. They were 8.3, 8.5, 7.2. They were splashes of fuel only. So you got fuel versus no fuel. So I'm curious to see which one of these strategies is going to pay off in the end.
We're running a full fuel tank. You don't have to take that fuel, I guess, but it just, if you take it on the first stint, the second one you have to spend less time fueling up the truck. So I would be on the side of doing it now and taking less time on pit road for the second go around. But we're going to find out here in about 12 laps how that looks. Pace car is down, waiting for the green flag. Marshall Johnson in the number 9 on the inside lane will resume this race on lap number 19. But this restart, however, is not a one-man truck there on the bottom. It's going to be directly side by side all the way to turn number 1, with actually the edge going to Tom Price, and the 5 is the 27 of Ryan Chapman, who's looking to have a much better 2023 or 2024 season. 2023 early on anyways. He was having a lot of issues staying consistent with staying out of wrecks, and so a much better year in the works there for the 27. Brand new paint scheme too, which I am loving. Oh, we got a wreck here. Tom Price in the 5 hooked by Marshall Johnson. In the 9 we stay green flag. It looks like Tom wanted to get in front of Marshall Johnson, did not have enough room, and that's going to send your race leader to the back.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. And, I was sitting here trying to look. I have the sheet somewhere, but I can't remember what it says. I can't get to it on the other PC. If this is an open or a fix. I believe it was open, if I recall. So that was right before we saw that little incident. I was wondering about these guys, the ones that didn't come down versus the ones that did. Potentially maybe their setup they have performs better if you have more fuel in it. For the weight balance. So that could be why some of these guys decided to come down. You never really know with their setup. That really throws a huge factor into it that is unknown to us. We don't know how their setup's handled.
Speaking of setups, the number 60, look at him, 3 wide right now. His last lap on the pylon was 16th place down the back straightaway. I don't know if you heard me laugh, but he was just by himself in the middle. You call that the sucker hole. And he was doing the complete opposite. He went from 16th to 5th by himself. Oh, we got a wreck here. 60 of the 22, Michael Blackner, get into it. Somehow don't wreck it. They have me call. Oh, here we go. There's the domino effect there. The 22 gets involved with a couple others here, sends them to the outside wall. Multi-truck incident, Sherwood Williford. It looks like, the 22, Michael Blackner was involved. Of course, the 60 there, James Mullins. He was initiating that with the 22. So we're going to go take our LSRTV replay here. Back to the front straightaway. And Charles, let's see what happens here.
Yeah, and right as we talk about him, I don't want to say we jinxed him with the commentator's curse, but he was doing so good. And then looks like the 22 just came down a little bit. Probably just didn't know he was down there. And just comes down trying to, either go down into the middle groove or just, make a pass, and just went right over the nose of the 60 and just caused a little bit of a chain reaction. And then from there on, it was just basically hang on and hope you don't get involved in it.
Yeah, when I saw the same thing. The 22 actually made a really drastic cut to the bottom. It was about a half a truck width of movement to the inside, chopped off the 60's nose. It looks like they had it saved because they kind of canceled each other's spins by going door to door. But then the 22 Blackner got back into the outside wall, came down, hit Sherwood Williford in the 33, and poor Tony Solari he was down on the flat almost, and still got clips hit him directly to the turn 2 outside wall. So involved in that wreck is the 22, the 33, the 11. Saw the numbers that are paired up. Those guys are going to get in a wreck. Looks like a couple others as well. That Rain-X Ford F-150 98, I do believe. That would be TJ Bartell. He's involved. So about 5 to 6 total trucks involved in this first wreck. And happened kind of early. Didn't expect that. But I was saying that's 16th to 5th in one lap. And he did that, Charles, literally by himself up the middle. Usually the sucker hole you go to the back. But for some reason he turned on the anti-sucker hole code of some kind and just worked his way through the field, and now he might use that later on in this event if he has to.
Yeah, it is a very different strategy, and it worked completely. You know, they call it the sucker hole, obviously, because you usually go to the back, but, you know, gravity must work reverse in his world, because it pulled him to the front instead of pushing him to the back. So, you know, maybe he's found some loophole in the way gravity and the physics work, because he did the complete opposite of what I would have expected to happen. But, you know, I'm with you. I didn't expect to see, you know, this caution coming out this early. So we will go ahead and we'll pull it up, keep an eye. We've only had one more lead change since that, you know, stage caution. I'm curious what your thoughts. You've been with these guys before. How many lead changes do you think we'll see in this race before it's all said and done?
The only thing that's a variable, which I can't really say within a precise measurement, is super speedways. You know, it's totally different. I do know that there's not too many passes in the front though, so that kind of gives me an idea. I used to pull up that stat one more time. I think it was like 8 or 10 that we had lead changes there. 7. So okay, so we did 7 this time. We're on lap 23, so we're over 20% of the way through this event. I would say you're probably going to be looking at 18 to 20. That's going to be my vote there. Total lead changes, and you're probably going to see 10 of those within the last 10 laps of this race.
I'm going to go old school prices right on you, and I'm going to say 21. Just do that one above you, just because. But you know, regardless, all jokes aside, I'm one side I'm surprised, on the other side I'm not, that these guys that didn't pit last time didn't come down. But yeah, they're committed to you know, staying out. We'll see. Some of them have already kind of fallen back, but the majority of them, out of the 14 that did not, some of them have come down, obviously to damage and stuff. But 11 of them are still out front, leading this for the most part. You know, I'll say leading. Generally, they're out front of the ones that did come down. So I am very interested to see how long they can hold up. Their tires, like we said, they don't matter, but wear is still wear. So it's going to be interesting to see how long they can hold up there. And will these guys that did pit work together to get by them?
Yeah, there's a couple of differences here too. The guys that ran up front, we saw them in the first stint, no problem. They ran clean, they ran up front, so we know they're fast, right? But now we're starting to see the cycling effect where starting in third is Robert Malikian, who started 12th. So he's no longer a mid-pack draft. Anthony Causey right next to him. He's up 16 spots, started 20th. Now he's going to start in 4th place on this restart, even though we're going to have 6 laps left before we're going to see stage 2 caution. It still gives us enough time to kind of figure out how well they'll perform up front. Are they a truck that can be leading, or are they going to define themselves as someone who can push the leader to where they want to go and find new partners along the way? So when the pace car goes back down here in the next 15 seconds or so, we're going to see some new contenders up here, and it's always exciting to see that, because maybe the race will get more exciting for us or not. So you know, we're about to find out here before stage 2 ends.
Yeah, and while we're waiting for this pace car, I just want to confirm, just for my own thing, you said Robert the 16, it's Malikian, correct?
Malikian, correct.
All right, so I'm going to remember that one because, I like to eat leeks and chop them up and put them in salad, so I will remember this name, Malikian. We'll get that one good as Chapman takes the green flag. Again, it's kind of nice. Jason obviously knew the series, but, we had the option. He's like, let's bring Jeremy in. I'm like, who's Jeremy? He's like, he's done the league. I said, he's coming in, man. Because you've done them, you've been around the block with these guys, you know them, and it's very beneficial to me. So first off, thanks for being here with me. I didn't have to do it solo and look like a crazy person not knowing names.
Let me tell you, solo, brand new to a league, you got to get your homework done, and that's the case. But thankfully, someone was able to step in for Jason, which happens to be me, the other guy that has also covered this league for quite some time. So definitely have some validation there to help you along the way. But I know you and Jason will kick butt there next week for these guys. But we are side by side for the race lead here. 5 to go before stage is over. The 27 Ryan Chapman led that last lap by 13 1/1000ths of a second over that number 60 James Mullins, which he was the one who went 3 wide all the top 5 for that caution, which he technically was a part of. But now he's leading the outside pack with the 69. Anthony Causey really assisting him, keeping him up there. But it looks like, Charles, that 60, he was so fast getting to the front, and this truck is able to hold a pretty decent run there on the top. So this guy early on has become my early favorite to winning this opening race in the 2024 season.
Yeah, I'm with you. Mullins has a rocket ship out there, and this is, of all the people out there, he has got to be thinking, I've got to keep this truck clean. I've got to keep this truck clean. I just went from like 16th to, 3rd by myself. So yeah, he definitely wants to avoid any chaos and, drama and craziness that is going to be in this field tonight as he's just barreling down the backstretch here. And I'm with you. I think he is definitely the favorite to win this thing right now, and he's proven that. He's out front leading this thing.
Yeah, going to the bottom now, trying to muscle himself around the inside lane, see if they can keep the outside a little bit at bay behind this group. And look at this, he goes to the bottom, and now there's 3 trucks that are single file. That's the first time we've seen this all night long on lap 28. The number 3 there, Brian Bliss, trying to do something on the top, but the way the 60 is able to maneuver around through the field, choose his lane, and stay put, that is showing just a strong chance here. You see Chapman and the 16 right behind them, Robert Malikian, go to the top. They're going to momentarily go around James Mullins here on the outside, bringing Brian Bliss. So there's going to be 3 trucks single file on the outside momentarily. They go back to the bottom. Strong move there by Chapman.
Yeah, and you talk about drafting here as we're watching a lot of it, passing and drafting going on. I don't know where I want that 60 because just the physics of drafting. You've got one car in front, one car behind. The car in front obviously has to work harder. The car behind, does not have to work harder to go just as fast, and they have some in reserve. So if I'm one of these guys coming up maybe later in the race when we get to lap 80, I don't know if I want that 60 in front of me or behind me. I think I might want him in front of me, because if he's behind me and he has that little extra reserve and he's already as fast as he is, that scares me that he will just easily be able to blow my doors off with a slingshot move. So, you got to be real careful where you want that 60 as quick as he is.
Last lap in the stage here. White flag is out for stage number 2, and I'm going to have to agree with you as well. As much as you want the fast truck behind you, that's also going to work against you if he has a hole to move to the opposite side or opposite lane that you're in. He will do it. He knows his truck is confident, and it will stick, and it will move. So, yeah, I would want to be behind him on the final lap or 2, set myself up for a great pass like Ryan Chapman did with Malikian last lap. But here we go, half a lap left. It looks like the top 3 are all going to be on the inside being pulled by the train engine there of James Mullins. And it looks like this is going to be a fairly simple race here to the checker flag to end stage 2. They're going to Brian Chapman's going to make that move. No help this time. Door check almost to the line. James Mullins by 3. Oh, big wreck here. This is stage 2. This is not the end of the race, and they got a big wreck here on the front straightaway. You hate to see that. Not good. Multiple trucks. You see the 2, the 16 there, Malikian. He's involved in that one, but James Mullins by 3/1000ths of a second takes stage 2. And Charles, this is huge. This is not the end of the race. Why did they pile him up so big here?
Yeah, it looked like someone maybe got just a little bit greedy when they came to the end of the stage. We'll see. It very well could have just been a little bit of a racing deal. And right there, it looks like just a little bump. Someone got on the apron, and from there on, they just basically took out the pace car along with them.
They sure
about
did.
10 other cars. So the pace driver, this is why, pace cars, be careful. It's a good thing you can drive through the pace car, because that very well could have been a Talladega Nights hit the pace car kind of moment.
Yeah, put the tarps over the pace car. That driver is toast. But if you could kick back, I don't know if you can, Brian Bliss in the 3. We saw the truck get squirrely on the inside by a bad bump in the trial oval. That did not start that wreck. That wreck happened in front of that. So we're going to see the truck move to the inside right there. And then right after that, we're going to see Brian Bliss in front of them get turned. So I'm not sure, because we were so focused on that first bump, we thought maybe that was it. But no, the wreck happened in front. It had been more side-to-side contact. It initially seemed like it, which took out a good chunk of the field there coming to the line, or right after it, rather.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for some of these guys. Again, no fast repair, so they're going to have to come down, as obviously Mullins coming down. And that was what I was literally about to say before we had the chaos that was the stage caution. Not technically the caution for that, it was coming out already, was, all these drivers that pitted, they were still down in 13th, 14th, 15th, and beyond, but the 60 was the only driver that actually came down and took a splash of fuel that had worked his way up to the lead. And then there was about a 10-car gap of drivers that did not pit. So interesting enough that he was one of the only ones that was able to come through the field and actually pass these guys that didn't pit. Obviously, we knew he's fast, but he's proven it over and over again.
This is going to make it exciting for us. We know he can drive through the field with ease, so I'm going to keep my eye peeled on that 60 probably for the first 5 laps of this restart here, as we're going to get that 1 to go signal probably this time at the line, which was resume this race at the beginning of lap 34, and we're going to run this thing 47 laps all the way to the end. To end this first opening race here for the simracingpoints.com truck series here at FTSR.net Racing League. And yeah, this is going to get fun. The second stage was a lot more fun than the first one, and I think about halfway through this third and final stage, we're going to see more fun than that. Hopefully it doesn't produce a lot of wrecks, but sure, I would love to see some side-by-side racing, maybe some door touching. But like they said, without any cautions, that'd be excellent to see. But we won't know, because there was a lot of trucks that were also damaged in that wreck. So we'll see if it has a big pack, or if there's going to be multiple packs after this green flag goes on.
Yeah, I was looking at the scoring. We still have 25 to 20 on the lead lap. That being said, however, that might be changing. No, he does make it out of the pits, because there's still a couple. No, I say that. I thought they were going to do it, but they did make it out. So everyone, while we do have Blackner that is 3 laps down, Wilford that is 10 laps down, and unfortunately, poor Tony, I'll talk to him later tonight, I'm sure, is out of the race. Just unfortunate for him, ended early. Still got a lot of trucks in this race on the lead lap, but like you mentioned, they're heavily damaged. So, that is going to play a factor. Whether you're in the race, damaged or not, maybe you can get in the middle of this pack, and, that damage isn't too bad if it's on the nose and you can tuck it under the tail of one of these other trucks, or if it's on the tail and vice versa. They might still be able to hang in there, but it's going to be, an if and when we figure that out.
What I'm kind of curious here, Charles, is look at your front row. Cody McKinney and Joseph McKinney. Cody was a points contender ever since he joined the league. I think it was late 2022. Came in here and just continuously running top 5, top 10. And that was at the finishes. That middle of the race, he was probably your top 5 contender almost every single event. Really strong here at Daytona. And he's found himself in a good position. He qualified only 13th, so it wasn't the fastest qualifier, but I've always known him to be up front and competitive at Daytona with these open setups for the Craftsman trucks here on the iRacing platform. And I expect him and his teammate here, family member also, to kind of hang tight up here at the front. But a couple notables here. Nick Goebel, remember he started P1, stage 1. He's going to be starting in 4th. So with that second round of pit stops, he has found himself back inside the top 5. Pace car is down. Green flag is out on lap 34. Third and final stage is underway.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to this third and final stage. And, you know, we'll see. I'm sure, you know, they got on the sides of the 18 and the 28 the Premier setup. So I'm sure they're running a Premier setup. We'll see just how Premier they are if they put them in victory lane. Another driver who's up there, Kobe Rice, he is in the 8 DoorDash. He's looking to make a delivery, and that is a win in victory lane. So we'll see if he can deliver that for us in that 8 machine. As Schaefer still up there, and Nick Goebel now back to 4th. As, you know, it just seems like they're getting a little more racy already here, but we still have 47 laps to go.
I'm going to do a quick shout out only because you allowed me to do so, but also just how he's running the 43 of Lewis Meglin, running our, or at least my sponsor there, Nerditudes there above the rear tire from Elevated Esports. Look at him, 26 to 6th since the start of the race. So up 20 spots. That's what we call playing strategy the right way, doing very well, utilizing the cautions to his favor to not perform up front, but actually I'm going to sidetrack myself. Look back at the 60. Remember I said I was going to not take my eye off him? He's already back inside the top 5 here, maybe 6th place depending on where he scores on the start-finish line. But he has already moved up 4 or 5 spots. He's also on the outside of the 8 and the 43 of Meglin, who I was just mentioning. So the 43 trying to play the strategy card, and the 60 just playing the straight up, I'm coming to the front with my muscle, and I expect him to be leading this pack here shortly.
Yeah, and I just got a glimpse. I hadn't seen it. It is dark. It is nighttime, so it's a little dark on the track, especially with the overcast. But I just got a glimpse of the hood on that James Mullins in the 60. Have you seen what it says on there?
I'm able to cycle through my cameras. So ESE, Elliott Sadler Esports. So James Mullins.
I'm beginning to see why he might be so fast. That team is, you know, they've got a lot of fast drivers over there. So I'm not sure. I assume if he's got that logo, he's part of the team. So that could very well explain why he is so fast.
Yeah, I knew another driver that raced over here last year that was short-term with the team. Was trying to lead the way with the cups and got moved to the truck, and somehow that didn't go through. So I was kind of curious to see how Elliott Sadler Esports would be inside infamous top 10 and not letting back any as he's about to clear the 29 there, Tommy Schaefer off turn 2.
Yeah, I think we're just going to say it now. If the 60, based on this performance right now, he's not in the sucker hole. They're on the sucker sides because he's able to work it straight through there. And he's still doing it. He's holding 3 wide, and you can literally see him advancing past these guys as everyone else is going to tuck in behind him as he sits right in 4th place. McKinney, though, still up front. Nice. And Chapman, your top 3 with now 42 laps to go as we just crossed the line. So 42 laps to go, 38 complete. We're clicking away laps very quickly, and I think you would agree the further we get into this race, you know, those moves are going to get more aggressive. Friends are going to become foes. And everyone's looking out for number 1 in the end, and that's where they want to be, sitting in first place.
Yeah, 100% fair. The 60 now leads the way on the top lane. Got 6 trucks nose to tail up on the top before you see them spaced out a little bit. But look at this inside lane, the 28, the 28 and the 8 running nose to tail, and they're doing the same thing Mullins was doing that last little run there before the stage 2 is over. Doing it on the inside with almost no help from the rest of the field because they separated themselves and still able to maintain that speed. But I think finally, after a half a lap or so, it is faulted against them as the 60 now with Tommy Schaefer on the top gets the head of steam down the back half of the front stretch through turn 1 through turn 2. Now we got a drag race once more down the back straightaway, and at the line will signal the halfway point in this race.
Yeah, halfway, again, not quite the point, but still, it is a turning point. You're halfway down. You're fixing to be further into the race than you were just a bit ago, and that sometimes it really depends on the driver. Some people that triggers, like the on switch of, I gotta go now. This race is, further in than it was before. But let's keep an eye. Chapman, by the way, has fallen to 9th place, so not a big deal. He, I described this this past Sunday, Daytona and Talladega, the front is kind of like one of those revolving doors that just keeps on spinning. 1 second you're in the spot going forward, the next you're going backwards. So it's all about making sure when that door stops for the night, you're in the right direction.
Yeah, 100% here as the 18 and the 1 were able to sneak in front of the 60. But now here we go. The 60 is going to utilize side draft once more. Quickly gets almost to the nose of Nick Coble in the 1. Going to be resuming 3rd place at the line that time to complete lap 41. Now he's going to have help with TJ Bartel in the 98 directly behind him, as he's going to pick up some new friends he has not worked with so far this evening and see if they can propel him to the front. Now, the top right now is Toyota, Ford, Chevy, all different manufacturers. Not sure how that's going to play out for these guys, as there's a bunch of Toyotas on the bottom doing a lot more work right now.
And it's funny you mentioned that. I was actually just looking at it. There's a lot of Toyotas. It's kind of interesting to see, primarily I see a lot of Chevrolets in stuff we cover, but this field is a lot of Toyotas, primarily Toyotas. So interesting to see, just what people prefer. And as you were mentioning, how many are up front is, I think personally, watching how this race has gone, I'm interested to see, I want to see Nick Goebel and James Mullins. I want to see those two go neck and neck when we come down to the final lap. I think that would be a really good battle, and I think it may happen.
Yeah, very well could be the two trucks that could be finishing out this race up in the front of this field. Going back to the manufacturer side of things, I think on average Americans are very more fan-based, a little more loyal to the brands that they root for and what they drive. And so you usually do see the American Chevrolet up front in most instances as far as the manufacturer count. And we're not seeing that tonight. We're seeing a bunch of Toyotas. I remember jumping in this league late 2022 or middle 2022 and seeing nothing but Chevys. And there was maybe one Toyota, maybe two, especially on the Cup side. But I guess when you get everyone together with a truck that looks really good like the Toyota Tundra, and the way you can customize that grill, right? You can make a chrome bumper grill on that thing and it looks amazing like it does in real life. Or you can black it out. That's something that's not completely sim stamped on the iRacing platform like the Ford knows or the Chevrolet, where you can't really customize it. So I think customization draws some attraction to the Toyota Tundra, plus it looks really good. So that could be why people have kind of shifted over to the Tundra, at least on the trucks.
Yeah, definitely. I'd go for it if I can customize stuff, to talk about it. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but obviously, I do race, nitro and electric RC cars, and I like to customize them. So, I like to customize my sim cars too. People love customization. They like making it the way they want to look, regardless of what it is. So definitely they're going to do it here in the sim world as well. And I'm a fan. I love it when you see the front there and Joseph McKinney. A solid blacked out grill. It just looks mean. It looks cool. And yeah, I'd go for the customization as well, as we have now 35 laps to go. We are, again, just clicking away laps at 47 seconds a lap. These guys are just out here. They're putting on a show. But, you know, for all, some of my, well, it's not action. It will be action here shortly.
It will be. So I think this is a great time. We're going to kick it side by side here. We're going to do this before we see some green flag pit stops potentially. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll see when pit stops start to pile in through. We'll be right back.
We're a racing family that you can trust on and off the track. So if you're looking for foundation repair, go online or give us a call to schedule your free inspection. If we fix your foundation and you mention Race On Texas, you will get a 1-year free subscription to the All Access Pass.
Looking to the inside of Turner, trying to make it 3 wide down the back straightaway, nearly does.
Last night the track was very slick. You know, we had 2 good grooves.
But anyway, just another some of that.
There's people in the stands. That means there's people watching.
At Click It RV, we know there's a lot of heritage and history at this location. RV sales and service has been part of this community for decades. We knew there was an incredible opportunity here, but to see where we've come in just a year is incredible. None of it would be possible without the patronage and support from this community. So whether it be a more convenient and accessible service drive, a fully stocked parts department, or this amazing sales facility, what drives this team daily is making sure our customers leave here with the best possible experience.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back here as we are just crossing the line for lap 50. So 31 laps to go in this opening race here for the simracingpoints.com FTSR Truck Series. And no pit stop. Well, I'm going to take that back. We pan it up, and here we are. Ryan Chapman. Looks like 5 total drivers, the 42, the 54. Oh, we got 54. Rick Webb hard into the pit box there. Hopefully his virtual crew members are okay. He's going to do a burnout to get himself back into shape. Ryan Chapman checks up there, the 16 as well. He has to slow up a little bit. So this is going to slow up this this group of trucks. He went from 5 to 4, and they had to slow up to not hit him. So this is going to be costly here there, Charles.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very costly. And, you know, now my question is, when are these other guys going to come in? Because, or are they going to come in? We'll see. But yeah, that's going to be costly as we're going 3 wide with the lap car in the way. I believe that's the 22 they were just passing. I could be wrong. Yes, indeed it was Blackner in the 22. But, you know, we haven't seen a whole lot of 3 wide. So my question to you is, being that you've seen these guys, and you mentioned they are a very clean league, and they've proved that here tonight so far. If or when are we going to see, you know, full-on 3 wide? Are we going to see it, or are they, you know, do they strafe them a little bit to try to keep the racing clean?
You know, seeing that up the middle 3 wide has really thrown a curveball at me. The past 6 or 7 months, have been a part of a Super Speedway Truck Series League, and with this recent draft package, 3 wide, if you go to the top, it only lasts for 1 to 2 laps, and then people start to fall back into the bottom in the middle group, and so it's not sustainable. So that short burst of run, though, that we saw from the 60 multiple times, that tells me, at least I would imagine 1 or 2 people in this race right now saw that and jotted down in their notepad and say, you know what, I'm going to use that strategy with 10 laps to go or whatnot. So I'm going to say, make your moves. If you're 20th place and you know you got a truck that's a top 5 contender, you're probably going to see lap 15 or so. You're going to try to make a grouping of trucks to get to the front. If you're 10th place, you're probably going to wait probably 10 laps to go. Something of that nature. But if all the trucks that are the fastest in this field remain up front the remainder of this run, I don't know. I don't know how sustainable that 3 wide can be.
Yeah, so for all the ones that want an analogy out there, because I just love throwing little funny analogies. Basically, so if I gather what you're saying, according to my house anyway, and the way I drink milk, that 3rd lane is like a gallon of milk. It's not long-term sustainable. It may last a day or 2, but it isn't going to last very long in the house. So I feel I'm throwing down what you're picking up.
The 3rd lane is a gallon of milk. I have not heard that one. I'm going to run with it, though, because I do believe you are correct, especially with me having a 2-year-old in the house. Milk is on every single list when I go to my local store and pick up something. So I have to agree with you on that notion. These guys are still staying 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 all the way through the field, though. Not a single truck even remotely getting close for side drafts. They're just like they were on lap 1 and 2, staying about a truck or a truck and a half width space away from each other, keeping it very respectable. But with that first group of trucks that came down about 5 laps ago now, I would imagine that everybody else has to pit, right? So what time do you do it? And I'm expecting Fury Motorsports to maybe come down a little bit earlier, as I mentioned in the pre-race. Everybody else, I have no clue. They might just run it dry and just run it out there.
Yeah, I'm very curious myself, when they're going to come down as well. I think they're going to need to, but, maybe like they're going to run it to the very end. And, I don't know if I would do that strategy personally, knowing that they have 3 green, white checkers. Because you may have enough fuel to make it to the end, but are you going to have enough fuel for the green, white checkers? That adds a significant amount of laps, 3 to 4 laps per green, white checkered attempt. So we'll see. They will be under caution, obviously, so that will help a few things, but we're 3 wide net. We're going to go 2 wide. They thought about it for a minute. Didn't happen, but still, it is Mullins in that 60. He's the guy, and we got pit stops underway.
Here we go, the McKinneys and quite a few others coming down pit road. Stay clean. That's Nick Goebel, Tommy Schaefer, and a few others making their way down for the second grouping of green flag pit stops here on lap 56. And this is a good group. This is a good sized group. You also have the 7 of Wayne Grossi in here. Really strong contenders in this race. And so if they can all merge back onto the track all together, I think this is a really strong set of trucks here to be up in that main pack and maybe be the pack to beat afterwards.
Yeah, and this is where I think it's going to get interesting with these green ones. As you mentioned, you're going to have packs now. We've had that one big pack all race. Now we're going to start breaking them up into little groups. And this is where you really see who your friends are and who wants to work with you, who doesn't as the next group's in. And someone hard into the wall.
Yeah, I think, who was that? The 82 there? 02? 02. Vince Mims. Hard. Squared his nose right into the inside wall. Now he's going to have no draft help. So he's got to fix that damage. Plus, hope and pray there's a caution at some point soon so he doesn't lose a lap. That's going to be huge for that machine. But, yeah, this is another huge group of trucks coming in.
Yeah, now this is going to be, I think, really interesting because this group's a little bit bigger. But obviously, just because your group's bigger doesn't mean necessarily that you have the advantage. As you see some of these guys going a couple or a lap down as they're getting past, because one thing that factors in as we've got some more of our leaders coming in is how well you work together. If you're just a hodgepodge of people, no teammates, you're not really working as well as, say, 3 cars or 4 cars that are tightly bunched. They could be faster just because they're working better together in a smaller group.
Yeah, 10-4 on that. And I'm going to take a quick note here on my notepad. These guys restarted this race on lap 34, right? They're on lap 58. So that's 24 laps. And that's from the last pack of trucks that came down pit road. To get to the end, 22 laps. So for those guys who pitted 2 laps ago, 3 laps ago, can they make it? I don't know. I don't know how many laps are left in the tank for these guys. We're seeing the lone race leader, the 51, Bill Hull. He's coming down pit road here. The final truck to make a green flag stop on the lead lap anyways. So the trucks that pitted a few laps ago, do they have enough in the tank? Did they cut it too short, or did they cut it just right?
Yeah, that's going to be something we really keep track of, and I'm curious about that myself. They must. It comes down to really, let's be honest, two things, 2 types of strategies. One, they know they have enough, and we just don't know it. Or 2, they are really banking on a caution coming out and coming down then when they don't lose a lot of time on the track. So one of those 2 things are going on. The question, the thing is about it, as you mentioned, we don't know. We don't know, what their fuel strategy is, what their fuel mileage is. We do know it's 100% fuel tank. So this could get very interesting to see, what these guys' strategies are. And I'm looking forward to talking to them in post-race to see, what was going on and what they planned coming into the race, and did it change?
Yeah, kind of curious of how they were to work around this, the amount of wind that's in the area of Daytona virtually right now. A lot of stability in some trucks, and then a lot of non-stability. I saw last lap on the back straight, they're still fighting the wind gusts that are happening around this 2.5-mile track. And so 42 Milliken there, you're seeing him all over the place. He's the second truck on the top, that green 42 behind Ryan Chapman, leading the top lane in the 27. And which the 27 has been doing an excellent job, right? He's been inside this top 10 all night long. Majority of the time been at the top. Oh, the 60 makes a really close cut there. Gets himself 4th lane on the top. He sees the momentum shifting up there. But man, oh man, he cut the nose off of Cody McKinney. That was so close.
Yeah, that was a very close move. And, you mentioned it, we're going to see more of them close moves and gutsy calls the later we get in this race, because we're coming to 20 to go. There it is, 20 to go as they cross the line.
Yep, 20 laps to go here. We're approaching go time. You're already starting to see some of the urgency with these guys. And I didn't expect it to see from the 28 and the 60, but those guys know they have fast trucks. They're just not in position to win right now. So even though you have a strategy, you come into this race 2 hours prior and you're like, you're right, we're going to make our move at this time if we're in this position, right? But as a driver, when you're strapped in, you got your hands on the wheel, you're in the moment, 15, 20 to go, and you see that book and it says, don't push it until 10 laps to go. Instinct from a driver is, nah, screw that. I'm going to throw the book out the window and I'm going to go now because I want to be up front. It's very tempting to do that, and we might see some of that here very shortly.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head of the nail. Impulse. There is as a driver, you do a lot of things on impulse. Whether they're good or not, sometimes they pan out. Sometimes you just get lucky. They say, what is the saying? Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Some of these guys are good. Some of them are good and lucky. And some of them just get lucky. They're a decent driver. No one's really bad. I'm not saying that, but sometimes you just get flat out lucky.
And Daytona and Talladega, that's all it takes sometimes. You could be a 10th or 15th place truck. You see the top 10 crash, and all of a sudden you're holding a trophy, or at least in the podium position. So luck definitely plays a huge factor here almost every single time. Well, there's a big shift of trucks right now on the front half of this field. You saw them, they go up and down through turn 1. He stabilized through turn 2 that time. A little bit of a domino effect from the leader, maybe not hitting the corner mark just right. We're going to go 3 wide momentarily with a lap truck, that being the 23 Brody Hanna, as he's going to quickly fall. Oh, a little contact even between him and the number 9. Thankfully that didn't happen, but we stay green as we stay 2 by 2 by 2 with 17 to go this time at the line.
And, you know, I would like to talk to, we may bring, we'll see, we may bring Brody into the post race later on, because I'm curious. Obviously, being the first one, you know, we want to kind of christen it. We ain't got a bottle of champagne or nothing, but, you know, just to celebrate a kickoff race per se. But these guys are now, I think, in aggressive modes. We're going to go 3 wide on row 2. We'll see how long that lasts. I don't think it's going to stay too long, though.
Robert Malikian shuffled out. I wasn't sure how the 3-wide was going to end up, but that 16 has 0 help, and he's going to go all the way from second place. He's going to file outside the top 10 here at the line. So no friends, half a lap, you get shuffled over 10 positions back through the field as we now hit 16 laps to go. The 42 Kyle Milliken will resume as the front runner on the outside lane with that really fast 60 was behind him. Now he shifts to the bottom. James Mullins is going to lead the inside charge here, which has strength in numbers. It is basically 4 on 10, and the inside will prevail, at least at this lap.
And then you got the 60 out front, and no surprise there. You know, you come into these with fixing to be 15 laps to go. You come into 10 to go. We haven't seen a whole lot of, you know, people being left out to dry, but, you know, there have been people that have come down off the top row to the bottom and vice versa, and they've kind of shifted around. So, you know, there's going to be somebody that said, well, you kind of left me alone early on. You know, you think we're going to see the payback here? Well, you left me earlier. Well, sorry, I'm going to leave you now, and just leave these guys, and you're going to see who's going to give a little payback to somebody else who just didn't work with them earlier.
Yeah, I mean, that might be something that happens. I don't know if we're going to be able to point that out per se, because I didn't see anything too disrespectful. Maybe a couple of close chops, like the 60 gave to the 28 5 laps ago. But outside of that, it's going to be something internal that maybe is talked about amongst the drivers themselves in a private chat or whatnot. But if there's any aggression, we're going to find it real shortly as we get to 14 to go at the line. The inside is still strength in numbers here as the 60 James Mullins is going to lead yet another lap with that really fast Ryan Chapman onto the inside.
And I agree. We haven't seen a whole lot of aggression, and nobody really. Again, it's been a very respectable race. You know, these guys have respected each other, except for the slight chops here and there of the nose. But you mentioned it at the beginning how clean these guys were, and well, they didn't make a liar out of you. they have done exactly what you said they were going to do. They kept it clean. And like you mentioned, that inside lane is really the dominant one right now. I'm curious, is about the 10 laps to go. And, well, I stand corrected now. Now those lanes are about even. That's what I was about to say. Would they even out? And they're already starting to do that.
Yeah, the urgency is picking up. Right now, the outside is a couple of trucks back, but now they got the numbers. If they can just button it up, the inside is way closer nose to tail. The outside's a little more spaced out. So once those guys get a little more closed in with one another, you're going to see a great amount of speed from this outside lane. Will it compete with the 60 of James Mullins? I don't know. But at least they're going to give it all they can. The 42 Milliken at the moment getting to turn 3 is almost directly side by side. Half a truck length to a full truck length now going through turns 4. We're going to see what kind of momentum run they can get on the top lane. Coming to the trial to complete lap 68 onto a very nice 69. And right now the leader is still going to be that 60 of James Mullins.
And I think this is where we're going to start seeing a potential of more cautions in the big one coming, because in order to, if you're that outside lane, in order to catch that inside lane, you're going to have to tighten up, get bumper to bumper. And I think you've probably seen it as much as I have. When you start getting bumper to bumper, you also have to kind of stay off of them a little bit. You do not want to cook this and hand grenade the engine. So you've got to stay offset a little bit. And that's when we can see hooks where, you just slightly get the back bumper, you hook them, spin them around, and we wad this entire field up. So you've got to be careful. But right now we're at 11 to go. Might as well call it 10 for the, as far as you're concerned. This is go time, and this is where we're going to have that chance go from about 10% chance of caution to about 80.
And look at that shift in power. James Mullins falls back to second place. Kyle Milliken led that time on the top and has the preferred momentum right now, getting a little help from the 22 there as they're going to put him another lap down midway through the back stretch. Headed off into turn 3. The 42 has led a majority of this lap as well. So, there's a little bit of shift there in the lane. And so that's probably going to actually end up hurting this group. And you see it definitely. 2 trucks, 27-60 by themselves out momentarily on the inside. That little hiccup around the 28 and the 16 caused a momentum shift in power back to the inside. 10 laps to go official this time.
Yeah, just 10 little laps to go. Again, at 2.5 miles. Not a lot of distance left as Milliken right there in the second in the 42. Mullins, no surprise. We talked about him up front. You got Bartel, Chapman, Bliss. Brian Bliss, or Beaky, as I've known him to be called now, out there. Again, you got Milliken up there, Goebel up there. The same guys have been up front. They've proven they're fast. So I really think if we're looking, you got about a 1 in 6 or 8 shot of winning this if you're in these top 8 right now. I think our winner's going to come from that group. I don't know necessarily if it's going to be Mullins or Milliken, but somebody in the top 8 I think is going to win this today.
Yeah, you mentioned Nick Goebel there. He is in that 8th place spot, 4th truck on the inside lane. He said it was either going to be him or the 60 as far as who you'd like to see up in the front. The one has the power. Of course, he started up in the front. He's been up in the front half all race long, except for that little short stint. Stage 2, he's got to know he's got to make that move, right? The sucker hole works, at least for the setup of James Mullins. Does it work for anybody else? We don't know. No one else has tried it up to this point. Coming to 8 laps to go. We're going to have to see some 3-wide action from this point for those guys in 10th place or so that need to make a move up through the field to give themselves a chance. You can't rely on the wreck. It's always a possibility, especially this time in the race. But you have to find your buddy now, or at least try something, or else you're just going to be a sitting duck and not getting the finish that you want.
Yeah, the old saying, risk, no reward. You've got to try something like you just said, go through the middle, go 3 wide. You saw, hey, it worked for him. Maybe it'll work for me. If you're back in, 8th, 9th, 10th, or further back, you're obviously not in the contention to win at the moment. You could be, so why not try something as we come to 7 laps to go? I would say with about 5 to go, I'm going to start working my way up to the front. You got to do something.
Yeah, hopefully you're with at least one friend that can help you get there. So tough to tell. Every race there's always one surprise grouping of trucks that work really well together. And right now it's a bunch of Toyotas still dominating this race for the most part. On the bottom and the top. Who's those 2 trucks? Toyota. So strength in numbers with the manufacturer alone. Maybe they push well. Maybe they push better than the Chevy and the Ford. I don't know, but it seems to be the case at this time. Coming up to 6 laps to go at the line. The 42 has dropped back at least 1 truck length over your race leader, James Mullins. But he gets a great launch. And here we go, 3 wide starting to form at the top, led by Coney McKinney. 6 to go.
McKinney right there. And there you see almost 4 wide, but they shortened it back out to 3. And now this is true 3 wide, and they're trying to make it that was close.
Sorry, I was just reacting in real time there. He got pinched up in the turn 1 wall there, scrubbed off some speed, but they still remain 3 wide.
Yeah, I was with you. I was about to think we were about to plaster the wall and potentially come down, as we are full 3 wide, 3 rows deep. And this is what we've been waiting on. You know, it's been calm, cool, and collected. That is out the window. We're coming to 5 to go, and they're 3 wide. Somebody is going to win this, and somebody could be wadded up in a big sheet metal mob.
And when I said in the pre-race, as you see the 3 wide for a few laps, and it seems to falter away. But we're on that second lap here of seeing the 3 wide. And right now you got 5 on the top, 2 in the middle, but the sucker hole seems to be not that in this case. As the 42 and the 98, that's Bartel and Milliken, doing a hell of a job maintaining the front 2 rows here in the middle of the back straightaway, with now under 5 laps to go. And the outside lane is not falling away like I expected. We see, okay, well, they dropped 2 trucks that time, so now they're going to be 3, and here they go. They're starting to fall back. This is exactly what I've seen in previous races. It just cannot sustain, and once again, we're starting to see it fall away. 4 laps to go at the line, 42-60, dead heat.
And also worth mentioning, we are obviously into it. We're 4 laps to go now. We are in the time frame here that if, you know, these guys, you know, completely wreck and cause the big one, we are in overtime area now. So we're less than 5 to go. So if we were to get a caution, it would go into overtime. You know, then we want to know, do they have enough fuel to go that far? Some of these guys have been out there for 27 laps on this stint. Based on how they're racing, I'm going to think they have enough fuel to go into those overtimes.
I think they do, the way they're racing. Definitely not looking to go down pit road, and definitely it'd be a bad time to pit this time. So I think that's the case, and I'm actually surprised there, Charles. We're seeing a 3 wide on the top. They regrouped. They got back to 5 numbers on the top lane, and so that has propelled them back to being contenders, as the 60 has not had draft help on the bottom. He almost, oh, there we go, hooked 98, gets spun out. We got the 16 involved and a couple other trucks, at least 3. We stay green because the wreck happened on the inside. That's Justin Diltz in the 91. 3 trucks involved, nothing on the racing surface, so we're going to remain green. This changes the whole entire landscape of what we were going to see. As we go single file and look at everyone go against the 60, they're trying to pass him knowing that he is the fastest truck. 2 laps remaining.
Yeah, you know, it's like stepping on an ant bed. You know, they scattered, and like you said, it changed the whole dynamic of this with 2 laps to go. You had 3 lanes of, you know, just smooth racing and heretics.
Oh, man, there's the aggression. Sorry to cut you off. That is aggression on the field, and we're going to be yellow flag. We're going to overtime, and the number 60 cut that 3 wide so close, Charles, and the 28 of McKinney held his ground through turn 1, and you're going to see it here. We're going to see it form. The 60 cuts it really close, which is fair because his truck was there. He had the groove, but the 28 gave him no room, and that just led into a wreck here.
Just unfortunate. And we watched the 42 of Milliken. He almost flipped that truck completely backwards. He had it all the way in the air.
Milliken had some very good races throughout the 2023 year, and super speedway seemed to be his thing, and he was doing excellent, had a chance, and now depending on the damage he might be done in this race. But that's terrible for the guys who, you know, were innocent bystanders. But you know what? It also helps the 3 guys that wrecked earlier a lap ago. The 91 of Justin Dills, TJ Bartel, and the 98, the 16 as well. Those guys now get to regroup with a fresh set of tires and try to make something happen for their camp as their races become revived.
Yeah, it definitely has, and we're seeing some new names emerging to the top of this field as well. As we haven't talked about them hardly at all. We will be talking about them in the post race, I guarantee you that. But that is Richie Coy in the 19. He is sitting in 5th place right now. Haven't really mentioned him a whole lot tonight. But he has kind of worked his way into the top 5 here with these cautions and some trucks getting damaged. So now this could get interesting to see who's going to kind of, worm their way into the top 10, top 5 that, have just slowly been back there waiting.
Nick Goebel in the 1 gives up second place to come down pit road. I do not see that being the correct call unless he was definitely short on fuel, especially with the green-white checkered. We saw the latest grouping of trucks. Remember, they pitted 24 laps from the green flag that dropped. So this extended overtime is going to put them in like 28 lap territory on that fuel tank. So maybe these guys just could not make it.
And so interesting, you saw the 9 and 18 just took tires.
I mean, if you're going to be down pit road with a few trucks, you might as well get everything freshened up, right? And the only thing going for them now, minus the fuel being correct and making it to the end, is the spoiler is a little bit pushed down. It's not so much in the air when you got more weight in the rear. So in this case, it might benefit them. Who knows? But that's just something maybe to side note there.
Yeah, definitely. We mentioned it earlier about the, their setup being open setup. It could potentially weight the truck down. And like you said, give them, the advantage they need of having more weight in the rear of the truck where the gas tank is. So many strategies going on. Obviously one of the best parts of our job is, we get to talk to them afterwards, the top 3, and kind of dissect what they did, why they did it, and find out why they did it. And find out, if they had enough fuel, did they not have enough fuel, all of that good stuff. If the truck was just, good, just awful handling and they had to fight it, or if it was a perfect truck. All those good things we get to ask them later on and find out.
Yeah, one guy, you mentioned him a few laps ago, Richie Coy in the 19, new sponsor on board this year. Cycled through a couple of personal favorites of his, but now he's got an actual sponsor on that thing with Victory Fuel. Use code COY19 to save you 10% on their website. But yeah, he's pulling the Dale Jarrett. He is the guy who ran in the back. We didn't, when the green flag dropped, we did not say Richie Coy once the entire broadcast. And here we go, going into overtime, and this is the first time we're talking about him inside the top 5. Richie Coy is always known for contending for championships, and he has won plural of them in the past few years through multiple series at FTSR. And it's almost like it's a surprise to see him up front for once, but at the same time, I'm not surprised because I'm used to seeing this 19 up front every single race. And so I see a little damage on his nose, but it doesn't look like it's affecting him as he's top 5 right now.
A little damage on the nose and some paint scrapes on the side, but nothing too, like you said, too dramatic that should affect the truck. We'll find out here momentarily as the lights are off, which, that only means one thing. That means we're going racing when we get to the start-finish line. And we are in overtime number 1. Scheduled 80 laps. We're fixing to be about 84, I believe, is where we'll get to. 84, 85. The question I have for you and for these drivers is, will we go into overtime number 2 and possibly number 3?
Before I answer that question, I want to appreciate the 24 live viewers on the YouTube side. I appreciate you jumping in late to watch this fantastic finish that you're about to see for the opening race for FTSR. But you got the 3 attempts. I think this is it. I'm going to throw it out there. I think this is it. We're going to have 2 laps to go, and we're going to see someone in this top 5 win this race. Maybe 6th at most. That'll put the number 8 into contention, Colby Mice. Outside of that, I don't think anyone row 4 and back have a chance at this point. But who will utilize that sucker hole that the 60s used half this race? We're going to find out. Green flag is out here. 2 laps to go for the opening race.
2 laps to go. Chapman out front, followed by, no surprise, the 60 of Mullins, McKinney, Coy, Bliss. Nice hole, your top 7. And I think we're going to see get a little wild and western here in these last 2 laps. All they have to do, though, is make it to the white flag. We take that white flag, all bets are off, and it is a drag race to win.
You see a lot of movement here. The remaining of this race, who's going to put themselves into winning contention? The inside gets a huge momentum shove there halfway down the back straightaway. It's going to put the nose of 27, Ryan Chapman, to the lead here on the inside lane, coming off of turn number 4. And we're going to have the last lap sponsored by Community Radio Network. And here we go. Next flag is going to settle this thing once and for all. We're 3 wide in the back and 3 wide here for inside the 10th place here.
And you got the 60 out front of Mullins. So right now, anybody wants to win if you're Chapman, McKinney. But I almost want to think that it's them versus him because they know he's been good. So you know they're going to probably team up against him to try to get by as Chapman does pass him, but Mullins gets him back by McKinney and Coy. They're trying to make something happen. This is going to be, I think, a drag race to the end. I don't know who's winning this.
This is going to be settled within thousandths of a second here. Does the 60 get enough momentum? He does. The 27 moves up for some side draft. We're going to go 3 wide, gets hooked. James Mullins wins with the spin assistance there from the 28 of Cody McKinney. And your top 3 and Richie Coy P2. I just, it never ceases to amaze me at what he can do late in the race. But James Mullins takes home the first checkered flag in the Truck Series, sponsored by Sim Racing Points. Richie Coy P2, Cody McKinney 3rd, Ryan Chapman 4th, Brian Bliss 5th. That is your top 5 here for the race at Daytona.
Yeah, what again, that race did not disappoint. And obviously our winner will be doing some celebrating here momentarily as let me go ahead and pull up those finishing results. And like you mentioned, we'll be talking to them here after a short break. In a moment, that is Mullins, Coy, and McKinney. But big props to Chapman, Bliss, Mize. These guys, they did a good job. Bartel, Hull, Grassi, and Megan, all of them did a good job to get a top 10.
Yeah, as you see, there's your top 10 now, cycling 11 through 20. Tom Price, Justin Diltz, Douglas Hess, Joseph McKinney, Josh Mayu, Marshall Johnson, Robert Malikian, Anthony Kazi, Tommy Schaefer, Kyle Milliken. I'm going to say a quick fact here. Inside the top 10 finishers, right? Only 2 of them started inside the top 10. Second place started 23rd. Third started 13th. Going back, Colby Mice, who finished 6th, he started 24th. That's just a crazy amount of flip-flopping that this entire field did from start to finish. And that's why super speed racing is always exciting, because you just never know what you're going to see at the finish. And once more, we had an exciting finish here. So I think we're going to take our time. We're going to bring in our top 3 here momentarily. I think we got a quick caution or commercial break rather for you guys. We'll be right back with our top 3. welcome back here for the post-race interviews. We got second and third place at the moment. Hopefully we can speak to James Mullins as well, but we're going to start with third place, number 28 Toyota Tundra, Cody McKinney. Welcome to the podium position here, P3. How did you get your truck up there starting in 13th? We didn't know if you had the fast truck to be in the top 3, so walk us through your nights and how did you make it into third place?
Yeah, qualifying was, it was a little rough. Didn't hit the lap I would have liked or have hit earlier this week, but these type of races, it's honestly, you can start in the very back and all you gotta do is survive to the end and you can be right there to win it.
Well, first off, I go by Charles in here, but my name is Cody, so I, kind of root for you. You got a good name. So, congrats on third place here tonight. You mentioned, you can start kind of anywhere for the most part and get to where you need to go. You just got to have a little luck and get there. And you did that. You come in with a third place finish here tonight. My first time getting to cover the series. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. I'd have to pull up the schedule to see the full schedule. I don't have it right in front of me, but Daytona, it's one thing. Are you looking forward to the rest of the season and, putting that thing in victory lane if you can?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Last year being technically my rookie season, season A last year didn't go as well as I'm used to or accustomed to when it comes to iRacing, but got used to everybody, racing around everyone, and after last year, success was able to have racing Brody, Richie, and all of them. Going into this year, the bar set very high, and kind of a good and bad thing because I know what I can do, but if you don't hit that bar, then you gotta worry about your confidence kind of dropping. But
yeah, man, 100% there. And congrats once more to open this 2024 A season, P3 on the boards, and one of the tracks that you need the most luck at here, I would say, between the two super speedways that we will see all of 2024. But final thoughts before we let you go this evening.
I appreciate everyone at FTSR, sponsors that are riding with me this year. DRE, Digital Race Engineer, Sim Racing Coach, Premier Racing Setups, 180 Flood Drive Properties, Brian Kennels, Cinematography, and yeah, ready to get the years going.
Yes, sir. Well, good luck the rest of the way, and congrats once more on your podium P3 finish here this evening.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. That was Cody McKinney, driver the number 28 Toyota Tundra. Now we're going to shift over to second place, 19 Richie Coy. Richie, you started in the back half of the field. We didn't see you, but you actually didn't even talk about you all race long and up until under 5 to go. And here you are sitting P2. Where did you come from?
Your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea. I shouldn't even have been there. I got in one of the melees there, and I got pushed into the wall, and I got over 4 minutes of optional damage, and I only got like less than a minute of it fixed, and really never fixed it again. But I was able to kind of keep up because I think I got hit on the side, not in the front, so I still had motor, but I couldn't push. I couldn't draft behind somebody unless somebody was behind me. So I was just kind of hanging on to everybody and dodging, lots of dodging.
Well, hey, you did a great job of dodging and weaving and making your way through this. And same thing Jeremy said. I talked to you a lot, but I didn't get to talk about you a lot. But you were there when it mattered. Whether you knew how you got there or not, you were there in the end to get the second place finish. And obviously, we'll be talking to the winner here in a minute, and you'll have a little talk with you during that as well, as what they can see is on the screen. So congrats on second, and you got an actual sponsor here tonight. So were you kind of thrilled to go out there and put on a good show for the new sponsor?
Absolutely. You know, I got Victory Fuel came on board for this season, so I'm really thrilled over that. And you know, we rushed. It was actually we rushed to get the paint, the wrap. I don't think the wrap was dry. You know how they always say the paint wasn't dry. I think they were unwrapping it. They were wrapping it still when they were pulling the truck off the trailer today. So yeah, I qualified really bad, so we were in the back. I tried to make a little bit forward, but nothing was moving in that first stage, and then the second stage got a little crazy, and then again it just kind of hung on, and then when we had the pit stops, I was able to stay up there with that lead pack, and like I said, just dodge, stick and move, dodge and weave, you know, sting like a butterfly and dance like a bee, whatever that was.
Float like a butterfly and sting like a bee.
Like
close enough.
Yeah, that's the one. Like, close enough.
That works, yeah. But you guys shouted that one, man. One of your sponsors. Congrats on the P2 podium finish. Anybody else do you want to thank, or just any thoughts in general before we close you out?
Well, as always, like to thank FTSR, Victory Fuel for coming on board, Martin Sports for staying on board, Sim Racing Points for sponsoring the series. You can check out my YouTube channel at Troy E-Racing over at YouTube. And thanks for you guys in the broadcast booth. This is your guys' first race with us, so I can't wait to go back and watch. Even though you don't talk about me until the very end, I still go back and watch. Oh, and you got to thank Tony's mom and dad. They're watching for their first time too. So
there it is. There it is.
Almost forgot.
You almost slipped up, man. Good catch there. But yeah, congrats once more on P2.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. And now it's time to shift our attention to the race winner who's joined in late into this channel here, the number 60 of James Mullins. Welcome, man. Congratulations taking home the checker flag for the first race of the 2024 A season.
Yeah, it feels pretty good, man. First race in the league, so it was a pretty good race.
Yeah, 1 for 1. Obviously, you have ESC on the hood and on the door panel, Elliott Sadler Esports. So I know you had to perform, right? And so you showed up. What blew me away with you is seeing there was 2 lanes. There was an outside and a bottom. Nobody was in the middle, which is very classic FTSR. You said there's nobody there, and there's a sucker hole, which typically you don't get to advance your position. You somehow went from 15th and said, you know what? There's a hole here. I'm going for it. And in 1 lap, you went from 16th to 5th. Have you done that before, or is this something new with the draft package? How were you able to make such an advancement in 1 lap up the middle by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I've really never did it before by myself, but in that first stage, you know, everybody's just riding, and you know, I like to race, and I just don't like setting. And after that first stage, I was like, I pitted. I wanted to get my track position back because I had a full fuel load. I figured if I get to the front, stage ends, I'm got more fuel than everybody else other than the people that pitted with me. So I just was aggressive going through the middle, and I knew it. I figured it worked, but because everybody was checking up, nobody was really pushing hard or nothing. And these trucks, you really got to squeeze people down to really get runs and be able to pass. And it's kind of hard to find a lot of willing pushers, just to be honest with you.
Well, you know, he kind of got my question, and we knew he was going to ask it, but obviously you like to race, and you know, I think it goes without saying you like to win too, and you did that here tonight to go for your very first race in the league. You win it. Obviously going to make the Elliott Sadler Esports guys over there happy as well. Very familiar with them, and a fast group, you know. Coming into it, are you glad? I'm going to go random question. Are you glad it's open setup so that you can kind of have your teammates, whether they're not racing actually in the league, they can still, you know, work with you and help you get some good setups?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, we're currently, you know, building for Road to Pro. So, I mean, this is one of our Road to Pro setups. It's really fast. I mean, qualifying setup probably need to work on a little bit more, but, I mean, we're really fast. Them guys over are really good, so I'm one of the setup builders for them. So it's really good group of guys, man, and we're always fast. It seems like.
And just one quick side question too. You were involved in that late wreck there, 3 wide on the top side, Cody McKinney, and the 42 on the inside. You guys got together. Obviously, you didn't have enough damage, but did that wreck with the damage you had on the truck, did it affect you at all on that final lap?
No, I mean, I look pretty clean. I look at my truck. I don't know. He kind of got mad, said I didn't have no room, but I was clearly there. He left enough room. Like, I wouldn't have made that if I wouldn't have been clear. I would just want to push him out of the way. I went to the middle, and I was clearly on the left rear or the right rear of I think it was Kyle, and he just come down and doored me. I tried to stay up away from him. He just pushed me down into him, and I right reared him and head on to the wall. So I really hated to do that because I really appreciate Kyle. He brought me onto the team. I want to win for him. I want to win the championship for him, and that's what I'm here to do.
Yeah, 10-4. It almost looked like the 2 door panels were just glued together from the entrance all the way to whenever you guys end up turning each other around. It just looked like they were glued, and I know it was a tight fit. You had the lane though, so your truck was there obviously, and just a little too tight racing, and things happened. But I was glad that your truck was not damaged, at least to fault you of any chance of winning the race, and you got the job done. So congratulations on the first checker flag of the opening race of your FTSR career. And final thoughts before we let you go.
Man, I had a lot of fun. It was a lot of good racing. I can't wait till next week. I guess it's Atlanta next week, so it's another super speedway. So, to be honest with you, probably bring the same set back and be ready to rock and roll.
Versatile set, working at a 1.5 and a 2.5. Good luck next week, man. Congrats once more.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. That was James Mullins debuting at FTSR. And Charles, what way to go when you go 1 for 1 at a league, and knowing that you got another super speedway ahead of you. You think he goes 2 for 2?
As fast as he was, I think he could go 2 for 2. Me, I'd personally just retire and be undefeated, but I think he could probably go undefeated 2 for 2. Otherwise, one of those things we'll wait and see. It's a different track, but I said it coming in when I saw that Elliott Sadler Esports logo. They've got a fast group of guys, so he's gonna be a contender all season.
That's my golf mentality. If I hit a hole in one, I'm putting up the clubs, calling it a career. So I couldn't actually do that, but great racing overall here, FTSR. It's glad to be back to watch another race from them. It's been probably 4 or 5 months since I've sat down and watched them. So. Clean racing as normal, as usual. So if you guys want to be a part of the action, head over to FTSR.net. Get yourself registered for series Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. So pick your poison, join in, have a good time. And appreciate you, Charles, for letting me come in here and talk for 80 laps plus a bit of more on the pre and post race session. And that's it for us here tonight. This was FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series. Catch it every single Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on LSRTV on the YouTube. And if you want to check out the website, that's livesimracingtv.com. And once more, thanks for you guys for joining in. I had up to about 25 viewers, so glad to see that. Bring the energy next week. Atlanta's going to be a lot of fun. Until then, have a good night. See you next week.